There comes a moment in life when the noise becomes too loud. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone wants a piece of your energy. They want you to explain, to defend, to shrink. But what if the most powerful thing you can do is ignore it all? This isn't about running away. It's about rising above. In a world that demands your reaction, your silence becomes a rebellion. Your stillness becomes your strength. Today we're not just talking about ignoring others. We're talking about reclaiming your mind, protecting your energy, and walking boldly in your truth. Even if it means walking alone. Because freedom isn't given, it's chosen. And today, you choose peace. Let's begin. Bamsk. The mirror is cracked. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. But the glass is cracked. Its surface distorts your reflection. Now imagine trying to fix yourself based on that reflection. This is what most people do every day. We live in a world where most people project, not perceive. They see you not for who you are, but through the lens of their past, their pain, their fear. They react not to you, but to the story they've written about you. The Buddha called this illusion Maya, the veil that distorts reality. He taught that our perceptions are not pure. They are filtered through the form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. That means people are not seeing your true form. They're seeing their mental conditioning, coloring every interaction like tinted glass. They say you're too quiet when you're just peaceful. They say you're arrogant when you're simply confident. They call you selfish for choosing yourself, not realizing it's the first act of self-respect. So why do we keep bending ourselves to fit the shape others imagine us to be? Why do we give up our voice to satisfy someone else's echo? In Buddhism, there's a powerful teaching called the 8 worldly winds: praise and blame, gain and loss, pleasure and pain, fame and disrepute. The Buddha said, "These 8 winds blow through the world. The wise are not shaken." That means, do not anchor your sense of worth in how others perceive you. Do not make your peace dependent on external weather. Because here's the truth. If the mirror is cracked, the reflection can never be trusted. If people are projecting their inner chaos onto you, their opinions are not a judgment of your truth. They are a revelation of their own suffering. So what should you do? Step away from the mirror. Turn inward, meditate, observe, know yourself. As the Dhammapada says, as a solid rock is not shaken by the wind, so the wise are not moved by praise or blame. This is not about ignoring others out of pride. It's about liberation from the need to please, the need to explain, the need to justify your existence. You were not born to be liked. You were born to be free. Free to walk your own path, even if no one claps. Free to stand in your truth, even if no one understands. Free to be whole without needing permission. So stop adjusting yourself for cracked mirrors. Stop seeking clarity in the fog of others' projections. Refine your own vision. Polish the mirror within. Because the only reflection that truly matters is the one you see when you are still, centered, and free. Your peace is too expensive to be sold for opinions. What is peace worth to you? In the marketplace of the mind, people trade their inner stillness for the cheapest things: a stranger's approval, a fleeting compliment, a few likes, a nod of acceptance from those who don't even understand their own suffering. But peace, real peace, is sacred, and it is far too expensive to be bartered for the opinions of others. Buddhism teaches us to observe the mind like a still pond. When disturbed by the winds of opinion, the water ripples, distorting our reflection, clouding our clarity. But ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth disturbing your soul every time someone disagrees with you? Is it worth shrinking your truth so someone else can sit comfortably in their illusion? Is it worth handing over your serenity to every passing judgment? The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." Opinions are endless. People talk because they are afraid of silence. But silence, that is where truth lives. Silence is where your deepest knowing rises. It's where you remember that you were not made to carry the world's noise on your shoulders. Zen teaches, let go or be dragged. Dragged by the expectations of others, dragged by the fear of not being accepted, dragged by a life lived in constant reaction. But when you no longer sell your peace, when you protect it like the sacred temple it is, something remarkable happens. You stop being a puppet pulled by invisible strings. You start being a force, a calm, grounded, powerful presence in a chaotic world. So guard your peace, not with walls, but with wisdom. Not with silence that suppresses, but silence that understands. Because the cost of peace is high, but the cost of losing it is far greater. And if you're ever unsure, just ask yourself this: is this worth my peace? If the answer is no, let it go. Not every battle is yours to fight. Imagine this. You are walking through a quiet forest. The path is clear, the wind gentle, the mind still. Then, suddenly, you hear shouting. A fight breaks out among travelers on another path. You don't know them, you don't know what they're fighting for. But still, you feel the urge to intervene, to prove, to defend. Why? Because the ego wants to be involved. It wants to be right. It wants to win, especially in battles that were never yours to begin with. Buddhism teaches that the root of suffering is attachment. Attachment to identity, to being seen a certain way, to always needing the last word. But what if true strength is not in entering every arena, but in walking past the noise? The Buddha never wasted time arguing. He once said, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love." This is the eternal rule. So many people are trapped in endless conflicts, online debates, family arguments, social media storms, each one a spark feeding a fire that burns their inner peace to ash. But Zen wisdom whispers something different. When the house is on fire, do not waste time chasing thieves. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to fight for a truth that needs no defense. You don't have to swing your sword just because someone threw a stone. Instead, step back. Breathe. Ask yourself, is this a reflection of who I am or a reaction to who they are? When you ignore the noise, it doesn't mean you are weak. It means you have chosen peace over pride. It means you've realized that silence isn't surrender, it's mastery. You are not here to be right in every conversation. You are here to be free in every moment. So next time someone tries to pull you into their storm, choose not to drown. Choose to be the sky, vast, unbothered, and at peace. Attention is your currency. Your attention is like gold, a precious, finite resource. It flows like a river, but its banks are not infinite. Where you direct this river shapes the land it nourishes and the forests it grows. So ask yourself, what have you been watering lately? What gardens have you cultivated with your precious attention? In a world full of distractions, it's easy to become a wandering leaf, tossed by the wind of others' opinions, caught in the currents of idle gossip. But remember, you are not the wind, you are the gardener. In Buddhism, we are reminded, where the mind goes, the body follows. Your attention is the doorway to your inner world. Every thought, every glance, every moment you spend, you are either nurturing your peace or feeding your unrest. When you invest your attention in gossip, you build a temple of noise, where judgment is the prayer and bitterness the offering. But what if you invested your attention in something higher? In growth, in the silent cultivation of wisdom, in the quiet unfolding of your true self. Just as a seed doesn't worry about the weather, it simply seeks the sunlight, grows toward the earth, and trusts the process. Your attention is the soil. Your thoughts are the seeds. Feed them with compassion, with understanding, with the quiet strength of mindful presence, and watch the garden of peace grow within you, around you. Imagine your attention as a lantern. You can light the path for yourself, or you can squander it, chasing shadows in the dark corners of others' dramas. But the choice is yours. Gossip is like throwing sand into your lantern's flame, dimming your light and scattering your peace. Judgment is the wind that blows it out. And growth? Growth is a steady flame, fueled by your deep commitment to what matters, what is true, what nurtures your soul. So spend your attention wisely. Don't waste it on things that fade. Instead, invest it in things that endure: wisdom, compassion, the steady journey toward inner peace. Because in the end, your peace is your wealth. And the richer your peace, the less you will need from the world outside. 6. You are not their idea of you. You will hear the whispers, the criticisms, the unsolicited advice about who you should be, how you should speak, what you should feel, how you should live. They will try to mold you, some out of love, some out of fear, but many out of their own need to control. They will call you too much or too little, too fast or too slow. They will label you as too loud or too quiet, too bold or too passive, too independent or too dependent. They will try to define you by their limits. But listen to this truth quietly. You are not their idea of you. You are not the sum of their projections. You are not a reflection of their desires, their expectations, or their insecurities. You are not the image they have painted on the canvas of their imagination. You are a living, breathing, evolving being with a truth that runs deeper than their shallow labels. The Buddha once said, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." And in that peace you find yourself. You are not static. You are in a constant state of becoming. You are like the river. It may change its course. It may shift its shape. But it is always flowing, always moving, always evolving into something new. So stop bending yourself to fit their mold. Stop apologizing for your transformation. You are not what they think you are. You are the one who knows the depths of your own soul, and only you can define who you truly are. There is liberation in detaching from the labels they place on you. You don't have to fit into their box, because you were never meant to be confined by their idea of you. You are infinite. You are limitless. And every day you grow, you evolve, you change. And that is your truest essence. You are becoming to, and you owe no one an explanation for your evolution. Inner peace is louder than outer noise. The world is loud. It clatters, it shouts, it demands. Opinions are like waves crashing relentlessly on the shore, and judgments swirl around like a storm that refuses to calm. In these moments it can feel impossible to hear your own thoughts. to find the stillness within the chaos. But there is a truth that is both ancient and profound. Inner peace is louder than outer noise. It doesn't need to fight for attention. It doesn't need to argue. It simply is. The noise of the world will always exist, a constant buzz of distraction, of fear, of conflict. But peace is the quiet that remains, the stillness that stays anchored, no matter how fierce the storm. Breathe. Inhale deeply and let the air fill your body, your heart, your mind. With every breath, you reclaim your center. With every exhale, you release the grip of the outside world. In that simple act, you reconnect to the truth of who you are. When the winds of judgment blow, when the whispers of others rise to drown your peace, let them pass you by like the wind through the trees. Do not hold on to them. Do not chase after them. Your stillness is your strength. It is the deep well from which you draw your wisdom, your clarity, your compassion. It does not need to shout to be heard. It speaks softly but with profound impact, like the steady rhythm of the ocean's waves, unmoved by the noise of the world. Imagine yourself as the mountain, solid, immovable, anchored deep into the earth. No matter how loudly the winds may howl around you, the mountain does not struggle against the storm. It simply stands. So stand firm in your peace. Let their noise pass like clouds drifting across the sky. In the end, it is not the noise that defines you, but your ability to remain centered in the face of it. And in that stillness, you will find a strength that the world's clamor cannot touch. Compassion is not compliance. Compassion is often misunderstood. It is not the same as surrender. It is not the same as giving in or bending your will to the demands of others. Too often, we are told that to love someone means to follow them, to agree with their choices, to conform to their vision, so to let their path become our own. But true compassion is not compliance. To be compassionate is to understand, to feel the pain and struggles of others, but it does not mean that their journey should be yours to walk. You can love people, truly, love them, and still stand firm in your own beliefs, your own values, your own path. You can listen without absorbing their confusion. You can hear their pain without letting it define your own peace. You can offer kindness without losing yourself in their struggles. Buddha himself spoke of compassion, but he also spoke of wisdom, of discernment, of knowing when to speak and when to remain silent, when to walk alongside others and when to walk alone. To be compassionate is to recognize the humanity in others, to offer your presence, your support, your understanding, but not to lose yourself in the process. You are not responsible for their journey. You are only responsible for your own. Imagine a gardener tending to a garden. They care for the plants, water them, nourish them, but they do not become the plant. They do not mold the plant to fit their desires. They respect its growth, its process, while maintaining their role in its flourishing. Compassion is much the same. You can help others grow, support their healing, but you do not have to mold your life around theirs. You can love them deeply, but you must also love yourself enough to stay true to your path. And in that love, you will find the strength to be kind without losing yourself, to listen without absorbing their burdens, to walk beside them without losing your direction. So be kind, yes, but be firm in your path, for only when you stand strong in your own truth can you truly offer a compassionate heart to others. The Sa. Wise walk alone when needed. There comes a time in every journey, a moment, a season, when the soul feels the pull to step away from the noise, to turn away from the constant chatter, the endless expectations, the ceaseless demands of the world. It's a time when the weight of others' opinions and the pressure of society's definitions become too much to bear. And in that moment, the wise make a choice to walk alone. The Buddha, in his wisdom, left the palace. He left behind a life of luxury, comfort, and privilege. Not because there was anything wrong with it, but because he understood that true peace was not found in external possessions, external praise, or external approval. He knew that in order to find the truth of his own soul, he needed to leave behind the distractions of the world. The noise of the palace, the clamor of others' desires could never lead him to the clarity he sought. So he stepped out, alone into the wilderness of the world, where he could hear his own thoughts, where he could sit in silence and allow his heart to speak to him. He went to the forest, not to escape life, but to find the deeper meaning within it. It was in that solitude, in the quiet of his own mind, that he found the answers that would change the world. The monk leaves the village, not out of disdain, but out of a need to hear the stillness of his own heart, to find the sacred space where the soul can breathe without interference. The village is full of noise, the constant chatter of society, the pressure to conform, the desire to be accepted. But to the monk, it is in the silence, away from the distractions of the village, that he can truly listen to the divine voice within him. To seek wisdom, he must turn inward, and for that sometimes he must walk alone. There is a profound truth here. To find yourself, you must sometimes ignore the crowd. The world is loud, and it is easy to get lost in its noise, to let the expectations of others shape your identity, to let their judgments drown out your own truth. But the wise know that true clarity is found in solitude. It is in the quiet moments when you are free from the judgments of others, when you are no longer trying to meet the needs of the world, that you can finally hear your soul speak. This is not a rejection of the world, but a return to self. The world is full of beautiful things, and there is much to be learned from others. But sometimes the wisdom you seek is not out there in the noise, but deep within. It is when you step away from the crowd that you can begin to hear your own voice again. Clear, unfiltered, true. The wise understand that there are times when they must walk alone, not as an act of defiance, but as an act of clarity. In walking alone, they reconnect with their own essence, their own truth, and in that connection, they find the strength to return to the world with renewed clarity and purpose. Imagine the journey of the great trees. They stand tall and rooted in the earth, yet in their growth, they often stand alone. They do not seek the approval of other trees. They do not bend to the winds of others' desires. They grow toward the sky in silence, and in their solitude, they find their strength. So too the wise walk alone, and not in loneliness but in self-discovery. If you find that the crowd is too loud, if their voices begin to drown out your own, do not be afraid to step away. Do not fear the silence that comes with walking alone, for it is in that silence that you will find your clarity, your peace, your true self. And when you return to the world, you will return not as someone shaped by the crowd, but as someone who has shaped their own soul, someone who has found the courage to stand alone when necessary, someone who knows that the most important journey you will ever take is the journey inward. And in that journey, you will find your path, your purpose, your truth. So, if the noise of the world becomes too much, if you feel the need to retreat for a while, listen to that call. Walk alone when needed, and in that solitude, find the strength and wisdom to walk in the world with a heart that knows itself. For only then can you truly walk the path that is meant for you. 10. Ignoring is not rejection, it's redirection. When you choose not to engage with the noise, the judgment, the chaos, you are not rejecting the world. You are redirecting your energy towards something far more sacred. Your peace, your clarity, your truth. You are not casting aside others, but rather choosing to prioritize what is most important, your own well-being, your own soul's growth. It is easy to get caught in the currents of fear, to react to the world's constant pulling, to give in to the pressures of others, to let their chaos become your own. But true wisdom lies in the ability to step back, to pause, to choose a different response. From fear to freedom. When you stop reacting out of fear, you step into a space of freedom. Freedom from external expectations, freedom from the need to prove yourself, freedom from the emotional turbulence others try to create. By ignoring what does not serve your peace, you redirect your energy toward what matters most: your inner calm, your resilience, your sovereignty. From chaos to calm. In a world that is often chaotic, it takes great strength to remain anchored in peace. The loudest voices are often the ones that seek to drag you into their storm, to convince you that you must react, that you must engage, that you must be swept up in their turbulence. But by choosing to ignore the chaos, you reclaim your center, and in that stillness you find your calm. You become the eye of the storm, unmoved, unshaken, and unbothered by the whirlwind around you. From reaction to reflection. To react is to let the world control your emotions, your thoughts, your actions. But when you choose to ignore what triggers you, you make space for reflection. In the silence of non-reaction, you step into a space of wisdom. You can see clearly, hear your own thoughts, and respond from a place of calm reflection rather than impulsive reaction. You can choose how you show up in the world rather than being dictated by the demands of the moment. Imagine yourself as a ship sailing through turbulent seas. The waves crash, the winds howl, but you choose to steer your course, to sail in the direction you choose. The waves may rise, the winds may howl, but you do not have to. Let them define your journey. You can ignore the storm not because you reject it, but because you know where you are going. You know that your path is more important than the distractions around you. In the art of ignoring, you find a power that is not often celebrated. You find the strength to redirect your energy, to focus on what brings you peace, to choose your own path with intention and clarity. You do not reject the world. You simply choose not to let it control you. You choose to walk your path with purpose, guided by your own inner wisdom. So the next time the world demands your attention, the next time someone tries to pull you into their chaos, remember this: ignoring is not rejection, it is redirection. From fear to freedom, from chaos to calm, from reaction to reflection. And in that redirection, you will find your strength, your peace, and your true path. As you walk this journey, remember this truth. You are the master of where you place your attention. Your energy is precious. Don't squander it on things that do not nourish your soul. Learn the art of ignoring the distractions, the noise, the chaos, and the judgments. And in that space of deliberate redirection, you will find the freedom to cultivate your inner peace. When you walk in alignment with your truth, when you choose to let go of the things that weigh you down, you create space for growth, for clarity, for the quiet strength that can only come from knowing yourself. Do not be afraid to walk alone when needed. Do not be afraid to ignore what does not serve you, for in doing so you reclaim your power and your peace. You are not here to live according to the whims of others. You are here to live your truth, to follow your own path, to create a life that resonates with the deepest part of your being. And the more you honor your peace, the more you choose your own direction, the more you will find yourself free, free from fear, free from judgment, free to be who you truly are. So go forth with strength and clarity. Trust that every time you choose peace over chaos, solitude, over the crowd, reflection over reaction, you are stepping closer to your truest self. And in that journey, you will find the freedom you seek, the freedom to be, to grow, and to live without the constraints of others' expectations. Let your silence speak louder than their noise. Let your stillness be your power, and let your path unfold with grace, for you are the one who holds the key to your own liberation.